Man, what a great morning and a great time to be alive. You know, let's learn something new today. Let's learn something new. But at the same time, let's do something that is ancient, if you know what I mean. So this service call is a customer has called and said, I had another company come out and my ceiling is falling in, maybe in a living room. And I called them out and they said, don't touch nothing. The problem came from the ductwork, the sweating of the ductwork. So you and I know that when cold air meets hot air, dew point can happen, right? Dew point, and then sweating, right? Condensation. And apparently it was enough to cause the sheetrock to come down. I don't know, I haven't been there yet, so let's go check it out. We're a second opinion. And so that happens a lot. When we get called out as a second opinion. What does somebody else think? Sometimes it's important to have another set of eyes. I have been on calls multiple times where I don't see it, the problem. And then either I leave and come back, take a break, come back, and then I see it, or somebody else comes and says, this is what it is. I saw it. It's the way humans work, the way the minds work, right? We think differently sometimes. But let's go check it out and see if we're going to come up with the same conclusion as the other company did, and we'll give them a solution. Important. Let's come up with a conclusion and give them a solution. Very important. God bless you. Let's check it out. This is the entrance right when you walk in. So this is where the first sheet piece came down, right underneath the ceiling fan there, right on this side. It came down, and then the next piece came down right there where the couch was in here. But something that I noticed right off the bat is, if you follow right here, you follow this line, what's right there, right? I hope that didn't make you dizzy, but it's ductwork. And this is old ductwork. So actually the metal's fine, but the insulation, you can see there's a gap. Let me show you that real quick here. Let me move this ladder. I'll give you an example right here. So this is what happens when insulation gets older. That's wrapped around the metal. So you can see, let me get a light in there. You see that gap where the metal and the inside of the insulation is? So that gap right there, so this right here is wet. It's all wet. all that. It's just, you can see it on my fingers, my hands. And so all this is sweating. It's just older, it's original. And then let me see if I can get, so right here, for example, y'all saw on the last video of the house why it's so important to wrap these boots. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but I'll show you my hand. You see the water? These things will sweat because you got cold air meeting hot air, right? So it has to be wrapped all the way down. And then we've got this spot here, and you can see the water. So the water's dripping down. If you look at the ceiling joist, you can start to see the discolorization, the oxidizing. I'm not going to say the word because I'm not a mold remediator. Same here. You can see the colorization. And so what's happened even here, but it all has to do with this duct, which has water in it. And when water hits sheetrock, the sheetrock loses its integrity. And so then it's no bueno. So let me look up right up here. So here's where a branch comes off another duct. And if you look under, look there. Look on top of the sheetrock there. Let me get this out of the way and you can see the discolorization there. There it is right there. So because of moisture, this has been dripping on the insulation, coming down. And paper likes to hold moisture, right? So this guy here, I don't know if you can see it well, but it's sweating too. Okay, it's hard to tell, but it's sweating too. But if you come over here, away from the ductwork, it's clean, nothing. That's just paper from the sheetrock. There's nothing going on. It's all because of the sweating of the ductwork. So at the same time, it just had a new system put in, and it's probably cooled better than it has in years. And so you've got ductwork that is even colder than it's been for a long time. And then guess what? It's a perfect storm. You got really cold air coming through ductwork that's not tight. It's not sealed, and it's lost its integrity. So what that insulation probably was this thick, and through time it's that thick, and now we have air gaps. So really all the ductwork, the insulation around it needs to be taken off and rewrapped. So there are 10 runs through the house, and it needs to be rewrapped. So they went ahead and just started taking the rest of the sheetrock down because they were noticing stuff like that. And this is pretty far away. I mean, maybe 4 foot from that duct, but you can see how it traveled. And so because of stuff like that right there on the top of the sheetrock. So yeah, here's another example. Look at that moisture up there, man. It's like it's ready to just drip off of there. Yeah, it's really cold. So when cold meets hot, the colder that air, the worse the problem. And so that's for anybody, anywhere. Look at the gap. Look at the gap there on that metal. It's completely open right there. So warm air is getting inside of that insulation. Yeah, it's unfortunate, for the homeowner. Brand new home. Just got flipped, right? So now she has to deal with this here. And it's going to be a process, but it can all be fixed. It's just going to be a process. All right, guys, so there it is. We didn't do a repair on that job. We're still waiting. I'm really recommending that that the homeowner call a ServPro mold remediator company. Sometimes you got to do it like that when dealing with customers. Look, if it was my house, I would just go in there and rip the insulation out underneath the ductwork above the ceiling, and then spray bleach it, wipe it down, kilts it with paint, and then re-insulate the ductwork. But when you're dealing with something like that, where you see something that could be mold, we don't know unless you have an expert to come out. We don't say that word. Mildew, whatever, algae, bacteria, I don't know. But anyways, so there were two things that I mentioned to her that could help her in that circumstance. And maybe you are in that circumstance where you've got some ducts that are sweating, maybe even vents or registers that are sweating during the day. On registers, what you can do is take that grill off, and right inside where the sheetrock meets that ductwork, right inside there, just seal it with a silicone so that that hot air doesn't come in and it doesn't sweat. But I gave her two things. Number one, don't use those high MERV 12, 16 MERV filters. Don't use them. Like, it's not worth it. But by the time they get dirty, that air is being starved. And when you starve the air going across the coil, the cooling coil, it gets crazy cold. And so that ductwork that's housing that air is going to sweat faster and more because the air's colder, the duct is colder. And so just use a MERV 8, MERV 10, and just keep it changed regularly. I mentioned that to her. That's going to help. But also, another thing that can help you if your ducts are sweating is to not set the temperature so low. Because, again, the colder it is in the house, the colder that air is going to be going across the ductwork where you already have weaknesses, okay? You have open spots through that duct. And again, it's going to hit dew point. It's going to sweat, especially in this climate in the attic where it's the humidity's pretty high and it's hot. And so those are two things you can do. Number one, keep your filter changed. Number two, don't set it so low. Set it up a little higher. And if you need a little cold air in your room, just put a little window unit or a portable AC for certain times to keep it a little colder in your room while you sleep. You know, until you can get that ductwork thing solved, get it tightly enveloped, that metal ductwork. And so, yeah, man, sometimes, let's talk about life. Sometimes it feels like life is coming down, like the ceiling was coming down on this person's house. Sometimes it comes when you're sleeping on the couch. Sometimes it, just the pressure of life and everything one right after the other. I want to encourage you. We all go through that. You know, the ancient scriptures say that it rains on the just and the unjust alike. Sometimes things just happen in threes. You know, you've heard these things. And when it rains, it pours. I want to encourage you, if you're going through that right now, don't sweat. Laugh. Find joy and trust in someone greater than you. His name is Jesus. I'm telling you. He created everything. So trust in that moment. It's not that it's easy. trust in that moment and tackle one thing at a time. Don't look at the big picture. Look at the big picture, but don't focus on the big picture. Grab one thing out, write it down. I'm going to focus on this today. And until that's done, I'm not going to think about anything else. I don't even want to hear it. And I'm going to sing my way to freedom. Freedom of bondage. Freedom from having this weight on you. And before you know it, you already knocked off so many things. And now it's easier. Now the burden is lighter. You get it? I hope you have a good day and a good week. God bless you. Air conditioning and life made simple. If you haven't subscribed and you think this can help someone, someone can learn air conditioning, let me show you the plane. I had to show you that. If there's something that can help with these videos, please like and subscribe and share it, because you never know. You may have the next William Carrier that invented the air conditioner living in your home. Get a trade and do it the best you can do. Have a good day.